Hi everyone. We welcome you to our question and answer video for tonight. We have a person who has asked us a question, and so we want to go ahead and do a really quick video. And today is October in man's calendar. It's October the 15th since we're already past sundown, but on y'all's calendar it's it's Bull 3, and we are in the 8th solar month, and we encourage you to go to our website, timesandlaws.com, our website, to see the calendar there. Now our question from a viewer was after our video called The Blood Moons, What Happened? Satan Knows He Has a Short Time. And we talked about Satan and his angels, and so we want to answer this question. And here's the question for this evening. This is from Damien. It says, if there can be war in heaven, what happens to an angel or a demon when they die? Or can they even die? How does that work? So we're going to go ahead and delve into that tonight.
Alright, we'll begin by reading Revelation 12, 7 and 9. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. So we have here Michael has angels that are fighting, and the dragon, Satan, has angels, and they're fighting each other. And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And so the ones that prevailed not were the ones that were fighting on the dragon side. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Now this war took place after Yahshua died on the cross, was resurrected. He spent 40 days upon this earth teaching his apostles, and then he went back to heaven. And this 10-day period between the 40 days after his crucifixion and the 50 days of the day of Pentecost, he had a war in heaven with the dragon and his angels, and they were cast out, and they were forever banned from heaven because they killed the Son of Yah on the cross. And so this caused their banishment from heaven, and they were cast out into the earth. And that's why it says they're wroth with the woman being the one with the glow with the sun, the moon under her feet, and 12 stars upon her head, which is his church in the New Testament. And she had to flee in the wilderness for 1,260 years to hide herself from the face of the serpent who was persecuting her. And so today the dragon is wroth with the woman and goes to make war with the remnant of her seed. So we're going to have a war again here upon this earth, but he lost the first round, him and his devils, and he was cast out into the earth, and a third of the angels followed him when he lost this battle and came to the earth. So that's why we have the prophecy of 144,000 is there to replace the fallen angels. So if you want to be a replacement for those that were in heaven originally, Satan and his angels, you become one of the 144,000. Alright, now let's go to Revelation 17. We're going to learn more about this war. It says here in verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So here we have 10 horns being civil powers, 10 kings, showing the nations of the earth give their power to the beast, image of the beast, which we've seen set up here when the Pope came to America. And so they're going to give their power to the beast, and these have one mind, and shall give their power and strength to the beast, to all the nations of the earth. These shall make war with the Lamb. So here the beast system is under the general leadership of Satan himself. And so they're going to make war with the Lamb through these kings and nations of the earth. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Master of Masters and King of Kings. And they that are with him are the 144,000, because they are called and chosen and faithful. So here we have war on earth, once again like we had war in heaven. And if we go to Revelation 19, in verse 11 it says, "And I saw heaven open, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war." So here, who's this up on the white horse? We know it's Yasha, our king. He's called Faithful and True, and he's going to judge and make war with the wicked of this earth and their general Satan. Again, verse 12, "His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yah." Remember in John 1:1 and verse 14 it says, "And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. The Word was in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God," or with Yah, "and the Word was Yah, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us." So he is the Word that was made flesh and came to this earth and defeated Satan and his host. "And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean." And so he has armies that were with him in heaven, and they're going to follow him. And they're clothed in fine linen because they're righteous. Verse 15, "And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress and the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Yah." So he's going to rule the nations today with a rod of iron. The rod is the symbol of the shepherd's rod, his governmental authority that is to rule the earth. Now, the question is asked, if there was war in heaven, did any of these fallen angels, when they fought, get killed and die? Well, let's go and see what the Bible says about this question. First place we'll go is the book of Jude and chapter 6. Verse 6. There's only one chapter in Jude. Jude 1. I'm going to start with verse 4 because it kind of tells the story and sets this up. "For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of our Yah into lasciviousness, and denying the only Lord God and our Master Yahshua Messiah," or Yah. So you have one Yah and one Master Yahshua. So you can't have three gods. You don't have a Trinity like the world teaches today, the Christian world. It's not according to the Scriptures anyway. Verse 5, "I will therefore put you in remembrance, though ye once knew this, how that the Yah, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believed not." When he delivered Israel out of Egypt, he did it with many miracles, signs, and wonders, but yet when they got into the wilderness, they murmured and complained, and so carcasses fell in the wilderness after they wandered there for 40 years. And verse 6 says, "And the angels which kept not their first estate." So these angels were pure, holy, just, and undefiled until they listened to the voice of the deceiver, and they fell and left their first estate.
So they're the fallen angels.
Yeah.
They're the evil angels. And this is where people get confused. But they're the evil angels that followed Satan,
right,
the third of the angels.
There's righteous angels and there's wicked angels. The righteous ones, we say, are clothed in fine linen, clean and white. And they're with the armies of Yah. He's their king and leader in general. These angels left their first state. Their king and leader is that old dragon called Satan, the devil. So they left their first estate. It says, but let me read again. "And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, which was in heaven, which is round about the throne of Yah, he hath reserved an everlasting change under darkness unto the judgment of the great day." So we know that these angels that fell are reserved in judgment. They're not dead. They're just waiting for the judgment day, and then they will be destroyed.
So right there is the answer to the question is, he's asking if they die or what happens. They're reserved for judgment.
Right. So, but they left their first estate, being in heaven, and they believed a lie, and they fell with Satan. Okay, then let's go to Book of Peter, 2 Peter chapter 2, And we're going to read verse 4. For if Yah spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. So they're in chains of darkness right now, reserved unto judgment. Because they sinned, he cast them down to hell, and they're roaming this earth today. But they're going to burn in the lake of fire when it's all said and done.
They will have their judgment. They're
Right.
reserved for judgment.
Right. And in verse 11, same chapter says, whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not rating accusation against them before the Yah. So even the angels know better than to bring rating accusations against Yah. So, but they are greater in power and might than the sinners and wicked upon this earth by a long shot. Now, if we go to James chapter 2 and verse 19 says, thou believest there is one Yah, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. So we know that the devils know there's only one Yah because they were in heaven when at one time. And they knew that he was the Almighty and the ruler of the universe. But they teach the Christian world today that there's three gods. And they fall for this lie, and so Satan tempts them and deceives them, and he gets the victory over them, and so they have to go through the same judgment he goes through that the wicked are, and they're punished with the everlasting fire in the last day. Now let's go now to 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 2. Do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? So, the righteous, the saints are going to judge the world, including the fallen angels that left their first estate. Now, if we go 1 Corinthians chapter, all right, no, I'm sorry, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, we'll see what the great deceiver does in the last days. Verse 13. For such are false prophets, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Messiah. So this shows that there's infiltrators in all these church organizations today. They're false apostles, deceitful workers. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. So here Satan's going to be like Yasha. He's going to be an angel of light, saying he has the truth and he is the Savior of the world, and to follow him. Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the minister of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. So that's how you're judged, is by your works. Because if we go now to the book of Great Controversy, I encourage you to read the chapter called The Desolation of the Earth. It talks about what the earth is going to be like during the millennium. And we're going to start on page 658. It says, the Revelator foretells the banishment of Satan and the condition of chaos and desolation to which the earth is to be reduced. And he declares that this condition will exist for 1,000 years. So, this is after, so he's going to be bound to this earth for 1,000 years. Because it says in Revelation 21:3, let me read this first. After presenting the scenes of the Yah's second coming and the destruction of the wicked, the prophet John the Revelator says, I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. So we have four names for Satan here, which are dragon, serpent, devil, and Satan. They all refer to the same individual that caused a third of the angels to come with him. And bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set his seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, until 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. So he's going to be bound here for 1,000 years, and then the resurrected wicked will come forth for a little season in 100 years before fire comes down from heaven and destroys them. So, but the expression the bottomless pit represents the earth in a state of confusion and darkness. It is evidence from other scriptures which Genesis 1:2 talks about the earth being without form and void when just before creation. Jeremiah 4 gives a good description of it. Jeremiah 4:23-26. I encourage you to read that. Also, the book of Isaiah, chapter 24, gives a description of the earth in the last days. But let's go to page 659 and the first paragraph there. It says, "Here, this desolate earth, here is to be the home of Satan and his evil angels for 1,000 years." So both Satan and his evil angels are going to be upon this earth for 1,000 years.
After it's made a desolation.
After the angel comes down, has the key to the bottomless pit and puts a chain on him and binds him here for 1,000 years. It says, "Limited to the earth, he will not have access to other worlds to tempt and annoy those who have never fallen. It is in this sense that he is bound. There are none remaining upon whom he can exercise his power. He is wholly cut off from the work of deception and ruin, which for so many centuries has been his sole delight." And Ellen G. White describes this as an agonizing period for Satan for this 1,000 years. Okay, so that is where Satan and his angels are going to be. They're not going to be in their graves. They're going to be alive, seeing all the horrible, wicked, terrible things they did to this earth, tempting man to sin, and they'll get to enjoy the fruit of their labors for 1,000 years. Now I want to go to John chapter 12 and read verse 30 and 31. Yahshua answered and said, "This voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me." So the prince of this world was cast out of heaven after the cross, because that was a time when this prophecy was given. And it was cast out because there was war in heaven. But they fought and they prevailed. Michael and his angels prevailed and sent the dragon away. But there were no deaths. But why wouldn't these fallen wicked angels die? Because the Bible says the soul that sinneth it shall die. Well, let's go to the book of Genesis in chapter 2 and verse 15. "And Yah took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And Yah commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die." So Adam and Eve did die because they ate of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Satan did not. Satan and his angels, they never ate of this fruit because they knew that they would die. But thou, because the soul that sinneth it shall die, they're reserved in chains of darkness until the day of judgment, and they will die after the 1,000 years are ended and fire comes down from heaven. And let's go to Isaiah chapter 14, and it'll tell us what the ultimate end of Satan and his fallen angels will be. Isaiah 14, and we'll start with verse 12. Probably familiar with this. There's some key things here. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" So here it says he is fallen from heaven. "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north." So that shows there that he's wanting to put his throne in the sides of the north because he knows that's where Yah's throne is. And he wants to replace him and be the Almighty if he can destroy Yah. Verse 14, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." Yeah, so he wants to be God himself. "Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall ne'er look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners?" So Satan is just a man, and he's going to lose his power when it's all over with. And he's going to be weak. He can't do nothing when he's chained and bound for 1,000 years. Now let's go to Ezekiel chapter 28. See what Ezekiel has to say about this. It says, and we'll start with verse 13. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Yah. Well, we know that he was that serpent that tempted Eve in Eden. He was there. Satan was. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Yah. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. Now, many of these stones also the high priest wears with that golden girdle about his chest. He has all these 12 shiny stones, diamonds, jewels, so to speak. So Satan had them at one time when he was in heaven. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. So he had a beautiful voice, he could sing. And he is a created being, just like Yasha is also a created being, according to Revelation 3:14. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. So he was one of the covering cherubs of the Ark of the Covenant in heaven. And I have set thee so, thou wast upon the holy mountain of Yah. So the holy mountain of Yah is in heaven. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee. So this is how you fall from perfection, is you sin and you have iniquity found in you. So you're no longer perfect when you do that. Verse 16, by the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of Yah. Showing he's cast out. He wasn't killed, he was cast out. And I will destroy thee, he will be destroyed, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuary by the multitude of thine iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. It shall devour thee. And and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. All they that know thee among thee shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. So Satan's, when it's all said and done, he's going to be nothing more than ashes upon this earth. And that's what the ultimate end of all the wicked is, according to Malachi 4. I'll read that right quick and we'll close with it. Because all the wicked that follow Satan and believe his lies, the prince of this world, this is what they have looked forward to. Malachi 4:1, for behold the day cometh, that shall burn as oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Yah of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. They'll be consumed. This is but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. So we know that the righteous will grow up to the full stature of what they had before sin. Verse 3, and ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith the Yah of hosts. So Satan and the wicked are going to be ashes under the soles of his feet. After the 1,000 years, that's when the angels, the wicked angels die, Satan dies, and all those that transgressed his law and didn't get forgiveness. So hope this answers your question. The evil angels are reserved and changed unto judgment. They're not dead. They're still doing their wicked acts, wicked deeds.
We know their time is short, though, because we saw the 4 blood moons. And we thank you for giving us this question so that we could make it clear, even though there was a war in heaven, what happened to the angels now? What are they doing now? And also, what is Satan up to? And if you have any questions, we encourage you to write to us and we can clarify anything that we do know. Of course, we're always learning and there's always more to learn.
Right. And I want to close with this because I said that a third of the angels followed Satan And it's right here in Revelation 12, 3 and 4. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. See, these angelic hosts were referred to as stars. And did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. He tried to kill Yasha before he could grow up and do his ministerial work here upon the earth. He killed, of course, thousands of babies in the land of Judea, trying to kill Yasha. So he was trying to devour that child, but his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. The fallen angels came with him, and the 144,000, when they're redeemed, will take the place of these 144,000 angels that fell with Satan to this earth.
Now Satan knows that the 144,000 are about to come forth, and he's also trying to kill them by GMOs and everything that he's doing. So he's an evil entity, but he will come to his end, and he'll be ashes under our feet.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this brings us to the close of our study for this evening. Hope you enjoyed it. May the inspiration of the Almighty give you understanding on all these most important subjects of the Scriptures. God bless you.